Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 PSN outage is real. It's been nearly 21 hours at the time of filming, where PSN has been mostly down, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it has been down for the longest time since the 2011 PSN outage. And so there's very quickly some parallels being drawn with what's going on in the here and now, because we are 21 hours after the outage initially began, and Sony still has not provided a more formal statement. It did take a few hours for, one, the PSN service page to be updated, so we do know that it shows off a number of services that are experiencing issues, so this usually takes a little bit of time after they update that. So it says 7 p.m., but it was like a little bit earlier than that. Finally had an official statement from the Ask PlayStation Twitter account. Also the Japan page, I think, was the first one, but they said they are aware of some issues that users are experiencing on PSN. Clearly, this is a very widespread thing, which there is a difference going on here, right? Because if you remember the 2011 outage, you could not even log in. What's weird about this time around is that you can log in. Now, I know that's not the same for everybody, but in my experience, which is a very small anecdotal thing, I do have to admit, this entire time, I can log into PSN, and that's across every PlayStation device that I've checked thus far. So you can log in. The issue does become just trying to use any services in general. So that would be sometimes playing games online. Usually playing games online is going to be the big issue there. I guess a lot of people are running into issue or error code WS1164495. I tried claiming the monthly PS Plus games. That was not working. Sometimes I can see trophies. Sometimes I can't. Those are server side, obviously, on PlayStation 5, mind you. So there's definitely some issues going on. So the service is having some problems. But the good news, considering that Sony is not saying anything, which that's not the good news, but being able to see something on PSN, being able to log in, sort of leads me to believe that it's definitely perhaps denial of service attacks or something that is just causing some major traffic issues on the back end. And that's why you've got this disruption of services that are a little bit more sporadic and chaotic, whereas not being able to log in, period, would be, I would consider, a lot more concerning. So in this case, it's not a good look, obviously, but that's what's going on. And we're all sort of sitting here going, you know, we're getting stir crazy, right? Oh my God, I can't log into PSN. This is ridiculous, especially given the timing is awful, right? Because it happened on going into Friday afternoon. A lot of people are getting off of work, going into the weekend. The weekend is, for a lot of people, the time where this is like the most spare time they will have to play games before they go back to crippling society on Monday and going back to work, which I can completely sympathize with. So it's very bad timing, but it is something where we're here for the ride, we're here for the journey, which is maybe putting it lightly, because it's so funny how this initially happened. So many people out of the woodwork are like, yo, PSN is down, this is crazy, automatically looking at the 2011 PSN hack. I know a lot of you are going back to the documentary we did and getting a little bit concerned, obviously. I'm not sure if it's to the point where we have to start being worried about, you know, account security and things like that, but if we go a few more hours and they don't give a more proper statement about this, that's where like things are getting a little bit dicey. You would hope, right? This is a company that has a history with this sort of issue, but at the same time, I would always say that they can't say anything immediately, like hours after it happens, if they don't know the full scope of what the actual issue even is. So there's no sense of putting a statement out there if they don't even have a firm grip on what exactly is going down. Now, having said that, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and should be a much faster response time versus, say, what happened in 2011, which at that point, that was so long ago, a lot of leadership has changed from back then, but a lot of what the company went through at the time, things are going to be a lot different nowadays. So I would hope that this will be resolved fairly soon, because at the time of filming this little impromptu emergency update about PSN, it seems like users are finally getting back into the service with more complete features, as in not just logging in, but being able to do everything else. What's interesting is that because this happened, I just off the cuff decided, why don't I try registering a disk drive on my console, which it did. So I was able to still register a disk drive in the, you know, very small scope of how you might be able to, you might have gotten a brand new PS5, you can still register a disk drive and start installing games offline, which gets into another can of worms, obviously, because anytime PSN has issues, this always comes up, which is the screen telling you can't play your digital software. So we got our boy Garnt up in here, Giguk, saying he's trying to play a single-player game offline in 2025, and of course this post went viral, saying that they can't use the content. Connect to the server to verify your license, wait, and then try again. Now, I hate being the guy that has to do this every single time this does go viral, which it does anytime PSN is down for any amount of time and people get this screen. It is frustrating. What I always have to say, and this is coming from a guy that has all this BS back here, I will always advocate for you buying this stuff before spending money on PSN, which is a digital storefront. It's the only digital storefront, and you have very few consumer options there. But it is something where, generally speaking, offline play with digital software is about as friendly as it gets on PlayStation 5, given that the first time you buy a PS5, set it up, that console should be automatically turned on as your primary PS5, which means you are completely entitled to play all your digital software offline. The second you get a screen like this, a few things might have happened. You bought another console and didn't turn off the prior one, which you can do from the new one or from PlayStation.com. You can deactivate your previously activated primary PlayStation. So you can have a primary PS4 and a primary PS5. So you could have done that. Or you are a two-console household and you actively use both consoles, and it's just something where you're trying to use the other console that cannot be a primary machine, and it has to be online because that's basically game sharing at that point if you're doing two consoles in the same household or a different household. It really doesn't matter where the other machine is, but it is a reasonably fair protocol as far as what you're allowed to do with digital software on PlayStation. So I will never say that's the best way to play games. You know where I kind of stand on that, but you know, it's just always something to remember. The irony is, if you are running into this issue, if for some reason you have one console and you want to be able to activate it so it's your primary machine, you can't do that when PSN is having issues. So there's very clear irony of that situation, but that's why we always have to remind people, like, if you, to avoid that issue, go to console sharing and offline playing settings and make sure you enable that so this will not happen to you the next time PSN does have some issues going on. But, yeah, there's really not much more to say right now, right? We're just kind of sitting here waiting, refreshing, seeing what's going on. It's weird. The entire time I've been able to log in. That's the thing. Although I don't play online games. The other, I mean, really the big issue is if you're, even if you have a primary system, digital software, and you can launch all your games, some titles, like on a publisher-by-publisher basis, require an online connection. So at that point, there's really no getting around it. You're still kind of screwed because it wants a handshake with PSN, which sometimes is just simply not going through. In this case, though, yeah, we are seeing the biggest outage since 2011. I don't expect any sort of compensation. I know that Monster Hunter Wilds beta is going on too, which sucks because, like, it's the weekend and people are super excited about that game. So it's very bad timing. There's absolutely parallels to be drawn from 2011, like when that happened right near like the SOCOM 4 launch it was, which didn't really help that game because it was primarily online, and that was something that was 2011, you know, to have an online-only game back in 13 years ago, or 14 years ago now at this point, so, because it actually is almost 14 years. The PSN outage happened in April, so we're not really too far off from that, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. I guess we just had to have a little bit of a kumbaya together and sort of take solace in the fact that we, well, a lot of us can't play games. I can. I use discs. Sorry. But, hey, physical media. Gotta love it, baby. And then when you're done, you can sell it, hand it to a friend. Adam boys, shuhei. I told you how that stuff works. All right, thank you for watching. See you on the next video. You take it easy.